No matter your age, your plan for retirement can start today. From the News Channel 5 Network, this is the Retirement Report.
Good morning and welcome to the Retirement Report. I'm Hank Parrott, your host. We're going to be talking about IRAs this morning, RMDs, all your retirement accounts. Think of it this way: when you reach age 59 and a half, and some of the key dates that go with these retirement accounts. Some of the key dates have to do with one being age 55, actually, is when you could retire and say from a company plan, a 401k or a 403b or a TSP, thrift savings plan. This would allow you to be able to take money out without that 10% tax penalty that would otherwise apply. Now for IRAs, you have to be 59 and a half to be able to do that. This is important information because if you're in that category of retiring maybe early or changing careers, maybe you're going to to work part-time, whatever that situation may be for you. You want to be thinking in terms of if you're going to need some income from your retirement accounts, you certainly don't want to be faced with a 10% tax penalty if you can avoid it. And there are ways through good planning that, of course, you can do that. Now, and there are also exceptions to these rules. So understanding if you're going to retire, this is why it's so important to understand these rules so that you can get, you can use them to your advantage, but also seek out some advice and work with an advisor that can help you in this area that's very knowledgeable about these kind of things. So for instance, one of those being there is a Internal Revenue Code exception, if you will, for required minimum distributions with early withdrawal penalties that would allow you to avoid that. And depending on what your situation is and if you need income, whether this in fact would be an exception or a strategy that you would want to employ. So this is one. Now there are going to be a number of things I'm going to talk about this morning related to your retirement accounts, distributions from your retirement accounts, when it comes time how to minimize taxes when you do it, how those distributions can affect your taxes in as far as your Social Security and potentially cause taxation of your Social Security benefits. I mentioned the Internal Revenue Code 72T, how that can sometimes come into play if you're retiring early to help with income. So there are a lot of different things we're going to get in today to help you with your retirement accounts and to help you prepare. So whether you're, in fact, we'll start with different types of retirement risk. So when it comes to retirement, and some of these risks apply before retirement and some come into play even more, of course, in retirement. So whether you're still working and approaching retirement, or maybe already retired, or maybe you retired and went back into the workforce, whatever your situation may be, there's going to be certain risks going forward that we need to be familiar with and identify them and have strategies to how to deal with them, because these can be devastating potentially. One of those being market risk, stock market risk, and in particular today, think about it. We're in the longest bull market in history. We know that we're going to have a bear market at some point. No one has a crystal ball as to when it may occur. Everyone's concerned that it's going to be sooner rather than later. And in understanding how these work, so whether your money, I'm assuming most of you have money in the market, right? And if you've got retirement accounts, of course, that money is most likely invested in some type of mutual funds and possibly some company stock and other things, and whether those are stock mutual funds or bond mutual funds that are in your retirement account. You're invested in the stock market, and you've probably got concerns about what the effect of the next bear market would have on you. And this is why doing a stress test of your portfolio can be very, very important. So if you're doing this on your own, if you do your own investing and you just go online and do your own research, make sure that you're understanding the risk inherent in some of your funds. In particular, funds that have done very, very well over the last 10 years, in particular large, like S&P 500 companies, for instance, and Dow Jones companies, these large caps have done, U.S. large caps have done phenomenally well over the last 10 years. However, and small caps have had their stay as well. However, going forward, looking again at those stocks, as well as, how diversified are you, for instance, as well as your bond funds, because which bond funds did well in the past may in particular be very risky going forward, especially if you get into high yield bond funds or if you're looking at long duration bond funds. And if you're not sure whether you have those or what's in your portfolio, if you're not sure about your bond funds, if you're not sure what's in those, whether they have long duration, whether they have junk bonds in there, this analysis is worth the research. I do that with my clients, with new clients coming in, new people coming into my office. We always get into an investment analysis for them to look and stress test their portfolio to show you what risk is there, and we'll give you an opportunity. You can call my office anytime if you'd like to take advantage of that and get that type of analysis done for you at no charge. Or again, make sure that, or if you've got an advisor, make sure you get with them. This is a great time to be looking at those risks. So market risks are so important because, as you know, when the market drops, you've got the risk of losing a big chunk of your retirement assets. Now, if properly diversified and allocated, of course, this is not going to be a permanent condition. It's not like you're going to lose this money forever, right? The average time, in fact, to recover from a bear market is about 5 to 7 years. But that's something to consider, isn't it? Can you afford to sit, waiting for 5 to 7 years to recover from a bear market? And here's the other part. That's if you're not taking any money from those accounts during that during that period. So in other words, over the last 2 bear markets, 5 to 7 years to recover, right? In other words, from the time it started to the time you were back to the, to the same amount of money you had before. That's if you're not taking any money out. In fact, if you're if you're pre-retirement and you're still putting money in, it could be beneficial to you through these periods, in terms of how you will come out on the other end of it. But it's so important to understand how this works, right? Because think about it. If you're not properly diversified, if you're not properly allocated, if you're taking money out of those accounts, then it's conceivable that you don't recover, right? That you in fact run out of money in retirement. That's how important this is, to understand these rules and make sure that you're applying these rules in your situation. So again, if you're not sure how to do it, call my office. The number is 615-376-5325. Tessa's standing by. She can get your information. She'll send you out a checklist of things to bring to your appointment with me, and we will do a complete comprehensive plan, including talking about your retirement accounts and, of course, your investments, whether it's in retirement accounts or outside of retirement accounts. We delve into that as far as your market risk, taxes, how to minimize taxes when the time comes to take money out, how to be properly allocated so in the next bear market you're not going to get hit as hard and you're going to recover in half the time. And here's another part. As a part of the planning, we have strategies that we employ as a part of your plan to make sure that your income is not interrupted due to a bear market. In other words, we have other types of strategies we can employ to do that. Right, so think about it. If you've got I'll share one strategy with you. Imagine that you've got you're allocated a particular way based on what your needed rate of return is to accomplish your financial goals. And then we say, let's take some and we're going to go in a more conservative place and we're going to place 3 to 5 years worth of money. That's typically would get you through any bear market, in particular in the portfolios and the allocations that we utilize. So you're looking at 3 to 5 years that we set aside for income in a more conservative, more protected strategy to provide you the income to ride out market turmoil, market volatility. Now, again, 615-376-5325, just one of the areas, and we're going to talk about more that you'll get with this type of planning. So if you'd like to come in and see me, there's the number. And when you come in to see me, I'll also give you a free copy of my book, 7 Steps to Financial Freedom in Retirement. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to delve into more risks. So market risk is one, but there's more. Inflation risk, longevity, there's a number of things. Taxes, right? All these things that we need to have strategies for to make sure that we're able to attain and maintain our standard of living and quality of life no matter how long we live. So again, we get to thrive in retirement, not just survive. All right, but first a break. Join us here. We'll be right back on the Retirement Report.